Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everyone. How are you? Hope you guys had an awesome weekend. At least where I'm at, we have amazing weather going on. Summer's in full bloom. We've had wonderful sunny skies, hot weather, awesome weather. So hope you guys had wonderful weekend. As you're tuning in, you know what to do. Say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Don't be a stalker. For those of you watching the replay high five. Give us a replay high five. Let me know with the high five below, and I can get back to you in just a minute. Hold on one second. Looks like we got... Oh, there we go. Hopefully I have good connection. As you're tuning in, let me know you can hear me okay. And we will get started. I hope I have good connection. Let me see if I can take care of this in 1 second here. Deal with me 1 second. Let me take care of some housekeeping. Let's see if that's better. Maybe not. As you're tuning in, let me know if you can hear me. Say hello. Let me know if am I sideways? Hey, Will. I'm seeing some people coming on. Let me know. Am I sideways? Hey, Sheila. How are you? We got something to talk about today that I think is going to help you guys get your day started right on the right track. And there's some symptoms that we all need to be aware of as we're building our businesses that I think could really help. But first of all, hey, Alan, am I sideways? Because I see everybody, your comments are sideways. Does that mean I'm sideways? I might have to turn my camera. Here's some funny Monday comedy for you. I'm sideways. All right. Hang in there. Maybe that'll get people's attention. Okay. Now, it says rotate my phone while I'm I can't rotate. Hey, Molly. Am I crooked now? Am I still sideways? Oh my gosh. How funny is this? All right. It says I am sideways. Oh, for crying out loud. And it just said I can't turn my phone I can't rotate my phone while I'm live. How silly is that? You can't do that anymore? Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. It says rotate your phone. You can't turn your phone while recording. Molly says no. What are you saying no to? Okay, am I sideways now before I hop off and start all over again? Okay, Molly, you said I'm good. Well, there's a funny way to start. Now my camera on my tripod's going to be sliding, so I'm going to have to hold it. Oh, gosh. Alrighty. How y'all doing? Sheila, you said I am upright. Okay, we're good to go. Well, how funny. Now Molly says I'm sideways. Carol says I'm right side up. Now Molly says I'm good. All right. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Well, there's a good way to get the week started with some good humor. I hope I made you laugh. That was my intent all along, you know. Haha, just kidding. Okay. Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get this show on the road. For those of you who are tuning in to me for the first time, my name's Stephanie Skokowski, coming to you from Pennsylvania. And my passion really is to empower you to become your best you. In your mindset, in your health and wellness, in your business, because there is no competition except for the person that you're staring at in the mirror. And it's never too late to become your best you. Never too late. Okay, so let's get going. What are these symptoms I'm talking about with this fatal disease? I heard some great training from the great Larry Thompson. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's amazing. He's right up there with Jim Rohn when it comes to great training and mentorship. And all these symptoms that I'm about to talk about, I'm going to be honest with you all, I've had them. And I would bet money that you all have had them too, whether it's anything in life, not just your business. It could be any goal in life. It could be in your relationships, which are the most important things that you have in life, you know, your health, your relationships. If you don't have those right, then who cares about all the other material stuff, right? Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Vicky. Thanks for joining. Giving you guys a wave. Let me know where you're all tuning in from, by the way. Hey, Lori. Just want to make sure I'm giving my shout outs first. Hey, Carol. Hi, Stacy. Hey, Darla. Okay, so there's 7 different symptoms that I'm going to be talking about, and I want you to be honest. And as I number them, if any of them really resonate with you, whether you've struggled in the past with it or you're dealing with it right now, put that number down below. Carol, you're from Canada, St. Andrews. Oh, that's awesome. Vicky's from Louisiana. Molly's from PA. We're going to get together soon, sister. Hey, Lacey, how are you? Castle Rock, Washington for Sheila. Good to see you, honey. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so if you neglect your attitude in these areas, it's going to lead to all kinds of diseases, and I mean your emotional state. It could lead to your physical well-being and your health as well. So the first one is, if you don't keep this in check with anything you're doing, is, are you indifferent? Whatever it is, if it's your business that you're doing right now, if it's the relationship you're in right now, even relationships with your children, just not a significant other, your work, whatever, are you indifferent? Are you lukewarm? And I'd rather see someone at the polar opposite when it comes to this. Would you rather be around somebody who's all in and passionate about what they're doing? They're all for it. They could even be all against something, and they're just super passionate about why they don't do X, Y, and Z, why they are doing X, Y, and Z, but you know where they stand. They're not wishy-washy. They're not lukewarm. You know where they stand, and who would you rather be around with? Someone who's all in and committed, or someone that's lukewarm? And in other words, they don't really care. They're indifferent. Indifferent's the word. Indifferent is one of the worst feelings you can have, because it's like saying you really don't care. I'm going to try this and see where it goes. And if it does, it does. If it goes great, great. If it doesn't, oh well. Well, you're not going to get anywhere then, because you didn't even commit, and you're indifferent. And I think it's a way of protecting ourselves. It's a way of maybe we don't want to get our hopes up. We want to try something, and deep down we hope we do, but also deep down we're scared, and it's horrible, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. You're afraid. Have you ever been afraid to get your hopes up? Because maybe you've tried something before and it didn't work. Or you got the wind knocked out of you. You got the sail knocked out, The wind knocked out of your sails is what I'm trying to say. Yes, I can talk today, even for a Monday. Is that making sense, guys? Can you relate to that? So maybe you're acting indifferent because deep down, maybe you're a little nervous about it. Molly, you say you're all in. Yes, you are. You're awesome. Stephanie, you're from Wisconsin. That's awesome. So that was number 1. Are you indifferent? Are you lukewarm? Number 2, indecision. How many of you struggle with indecision? You're sitting on the fence forever. For God's sake, just pick a side, right? You're afraid to pick a side because you're not sure what the right side is. You're afraid of making a mistake. Does that sound familiar? Carol's all in. High five, Carol. That's awesome. So that's also called mental paralysis. And then you get completely stuck because you don't know what to do. And if you're in any kind of indecision, that means you're not moving forward at all, right? And that's the worst thing you can do. You want to get in the habit of making a decision, even if it's the wrong decision. So what? What are you going to do? Sit on the fence of life your whole life and just watch life pass you by and you stay sitting on the fence? Or another great analogy I like is you stay in the sidelines. You're in the stadium watching the game instead of getting in the game. You're in the stadium seats. So what do you want to do? Do you want to watch it your whole life? Because you're afraid to make that decision. You're afraid of making the wrong ones. Or just jump in. What's the worst thing that can happen? You make a decision. Maybe it wasn't the right one. You tweak it and go another course. But at least you made a decision, and get in the habit of making decisions and make them quickly. Analyze it, get the facts, but then make it quickly. Don't sit on the fence forever, because I promise you, and I'm speaking from experience. Like I said, I've had all 7 of these. All 7. I'm like in recovery. I'm getting better. But I think we can all relate to this. Indecision means inactivity, which means the longer you sit and wait, there's that inertia. The longer it's going to take to get into any kind of motion and momentum. And you don't want to do that. Molly wants to play. That's awesome. Hey, Stannis, welcome. Hi, Athena. Hope I pronounced your name right, honey. Okay, that was number 2, indecision. That's another symptom of these attitude diseases that can get in your way. And this is anything that you're after in life. Okay, number 3, how many have suffered from doubt? Hi, Ellen. specifically self-doubt. My gosh, that's the worst. How many of you want to try something new and you're worried that you can't do it because you never done it before? Or maybe you tried something similar and you kind of made a mistake and you're worried about failing again. You doubt yourself. And I want to encourage you to start trusting more than doubting. And again, it goes back to just making that decision, just doing it. Sometimes, maybe ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? Am I going to die if I make the wrong decision? Am I going to die if I try again? What's the worst thing that can happen? And if it's not life-threatening, do it anyway, because it's worse, in my opinion, to live with regret. Would you rather not do it because you're afraid of doubting your abilities? And then you'll never know because you never acted on it. And I struggle with self-doubt all the time. Who am I to do X, Y, and Z, try something new, step up and improve and be a better person and achieve this goal, especially if there's things in your past, and we talked about this before on one of my other lives, that you keep reminding yourselves of who you used to be more than you look forward to who you can be. And we're our own worst enemies sometimes when we do that, right? Oh my gosh, but I remember back in the day when I did this, or I made this mistake, or I used to be this kind of person. And you think the whole world knows that. And so it makes you doubt yourself of you could never overcome and be better. But in my opinion, those are the best stories. When we share your mess, and I talked about that in another live from last week, letting your mess be your message. If you've overcome something, let it out, because you're going to be that much more encouraging to someone else who might be right in the thick of that darkness that you've already overcome, and now you're a source of inspiration to them. So don't doubt yourself. If you do, go to someone that you know is a great support for yourself and get that pep talk that you need. Sheila, you said absolutely. Hey, Susan, thanks for joining. Oh my gosh, I think that's one of the biggest ones out of all these 7. Self-doubt, oh my gosh. It's right up there. Carol, you said you're terrible with self-doubt as well. Carol, what do you do? When you're feeling like that, if there's like a tip you want to share, please do that. Any of this, guys, because we're only going to help each other. We're all in this together. I'm certainly not an expert. I just learn, and I'm constantly trying to grow, and I just share with you guys what I'm learning and overcoming myself. Vicky says, I'm trying to do better with number 3, retraining my brain. Standing in faith in God, leave no doubt. Yes, that's right. Not saying it's always to my advantage, just to make it better. But at least you're working on it, Vicky. That's fantastic. Hey, Susan. Okay, that was number 3, self-doubt. All right, here's another one. Worry. How many of us worry? My gosh. And if we're moms, you can multiply that times 100. Worry all the time. You're worried. And a lot of times we worry about things that could happen. So now we're worrying about things that are in the future, and 80% of the things we worry about, never happen. They never happen. So we're putting all our energy into something in the future, and it's something negative that could happen, but chances are, Lord willing, it doesn't happen anyway. And now we spent so much energy worry about things that could happen. I was worrying last week when Samantha, my oldest, who just graduated, drove for the first time to the New Jersey shore with 2 girlfriends, and she was driving, and she's never driven that far. I worried and tracked her the whole time till she was there. Tried not to, I kept it in check, but let's be honest, that's just what we do. Okay, let me go back here. Carol, that's awesome. Look at Carol's tip, everyone. I go back and remember how far I've come, and you move forward. That's so true, Carol. That whole analogy of if you're thinking of the car analogy, looking forward in your windshield is much bigger than the tiny little rearview mirror, right? Because you shouldn't be looking back in the past. You should be pressing forward. That's awesome. Good advice, Carol. Thank you so much. Yeah, but you also worry 100 million times more. And Mamali as well. Yeah, it deals with anxiety. And, there's lots of things that cause anxiety and worry. Some of it's legit. Some of it could even be medically related. So I'm not saying it doesn't have its place, but if we let it get out of control and we worry about what could happen, and that's what keeps you stuck and not moving forward, well, then you'll never know. You'll never know if the good can happen as well. Hey, Linda, thanks for joining. Making sense, everyone? Hi, Lori. Okay, so worry, that could lead to health problems, social problems, economic problems, personal problems. When I was listening to this training, it was like people that worry in general saying, oh my gosh, we have to worry about, nuclear warfare. A bomb could drop any day. And so what are you going to do? You're going to bunker down and wait for the day that it could or could not happen, and then you just sit and you don't live your life. And that was just an oversimplified analogy of like Chicken Little, the sky's falling. What if the sky's falling today? What are you going to do? What if it doesn't? Yes, tell yourself a different story. I like that. I like that answer too, Molly, because we can control what we think. And so if our mind got away from us temporarily and we're thinking something negative and we're worrying, we can also tell ourselves a story. And if you write it down and read it out loud, it's even easier, because then you don't have to be so creative when you're in that stressful moment. It's already pre-written down, and you're going to read it out loud so that your subconscious mind hears it anyway. Linda says, if you can't change it, who cares? There you go. Perfect. I love that. So that was number 4. We worry too much. That's another symptom that could lead to these attitude diseases. Number 5, you're overcautious. Are you timid about life? Here's something I'd like to know out of those who are watching, and even if you're watching the replay, let me know below. Are you a toe dipper, or do you like to cannonball into the pool? I'll admit, this is one thing I do. I usually cannonball. If I'm going to do it, I'm all in. I'm cannonball. I'm not going to go to the steps in the shallow part of the pool and dip my pinky toe in to see how warm or how cold the water is. But do you have a timid approach to life overall? Are you always testing the waters? Are you always waiting for better days? Guess what? Better days are what you make of it. Better days aren't coming. A day is a day. It's not good or bad unless you categorize it that way. There's no time like the present. Are you always looking at the risk that's in the opportunities, or are you looking at opportunities that might be in the risk? And guess what? You're not, unless you want to huddle down in a tent somewhere for the rest of your life and not interact with humanity, you can't get away from risk. Risk is going to be there. So what kind of life do you want? And I love what they were saying. I've heard Jim Rohn say this before. We are not getting out of this life alive. You want to talk about risk? No one's getting out alive. So we might as well make the best of it and not worry about the risk so much. Carol cannonballs all the way. So does Molly. Love it. Hey, Cindy, welcome. Thanks for joining. Hope you guys are getting value from this. So don't be overcautious. You can't do anything worthwhile in life without risk. You're always looking for safety and security. You're never going to get it 100%. You're not going to get it in relationships. I'm afraid to put my feelings out there because what if my feelings get hurt? Yeah, you're right. But then you're also going to hold back on having an awesome relationship where you could have some love. Or I'm not going to take a risk on this business venture. I'm just going to stay at my comfortable job that I know, because that's just too big of a risk. Well, the way jobs are these days, nothing's risk-free. The days of my grandfather where he could work his way up through corporate America and have an awesome pension for the rest of his life, those days are gone. There is nothing that's risk-free. Thank you, Molly. That's so sweet of you. So, are you overcautious? All right, 2 more. Pessimism. Are you pessimistic or are you optimistic? Are you expecting the worst out of life? Are you expecting the best out of life? If you're always pessimistic and always looking at the things that are wrong, how are you going to have any enjoyment? Why even bother? And a great analogy Larry used was a beach house that he had, and he went outside and he puts his toes in the sand and it feels so great and it's so warm, and his friend comes over, doesn't even live there, and the first thing he said was, oh my gosh, I bet the taxes are high here. I love that. He's not looking at the beauty of everything around him. He's talking about the taxes must be high for something like this, and he's not even paying for the house. So give yourself a check like that. Hi, Yvette. Thanks for joining. So check in with that. Are you pessimistic or are you optimistic? Are you expecting the worst out of life? Are you expecting the best out of life? And that's a habit. All of these can be habits. You can develop good habits, you can develop bad habits. You know, if you think of the analogy of a garden, unfortunately, the one thing you don't have to worry about, and the one thing that you can neglect that's always going to keep growing, are the weeds. But if you want a beautiful garden, you have to keep pulling the weeds, watering the soil, checking after it. Don't neglect it. And that's what all this is. This is all related with your attitudes. If you neglect all this and don't keep it in check, you're going to grow nothing but a bunch of weeds after a while. Hi, Bailey. Hi, David. Thanks for joining. Is this making sense, guys? So think about that. These are habits you can eventually, over time, change your habits. Put a rubber band around your wrist. If you find yourself saying pessimistic things, being sarcastic, or thinking about it, snap that rubber band and snap out of it and immediately replace it with a positive alternative, the positive opposite, whatever it takes. This isn't going to happen overnight, but even if you pick just one or two of these, that might be your biggest challenge right now, and focus on that for 21 days, because that's how long it takes to develop a new habit. See what happens. Molly, you said your head has a lot of weeds. So you can start pruning that garden with some positive statements, positive thoughts, write them down. Last one, number 7, is complaining. How many of us complain? I was complaining this weekend, I'll be honest. It was like a Murphy's Law weekend for me this past weekend. We had my daughter's graduation picnic. It was a lot of fun, but all these little things kept adding up. I stumbled and crushed my ankle against the curb as I'm getting into my car. Then I get a splinter in my calf from the picnic table through my jeans. Then the next day I get another splinter on the bottom of my foot because I was silly enough to go out on our wooden deck in bare feet. It was just like one of these ripple effects, and I was starting to complain. But what do you do when you complain? You're just giving it that energy, right? And whatever you give energy to is just going to grow, which is probably why I was having such a horrible time, because I was complaining and attracting more silly accidents into my life. Carol says, I catch myself complaining. I try hard to, but wow. Yeah, it's funny sometimes, you know? I mean, think of people that you might know and that all they do is complain. Do you like to be around them? Or are you rolling your eyes going, oh my gosh, get me out of here? Because they're nothing but a wet blanket. You're complaining all the time. And it happens to all of us. Like I said, I do all 7 of these. I'm working on all 7. But the thing is, again, with the habits that you can develop, as soon as you find yourself complaining about something, snap that rubber band. And now I want you to say something out loud that you're grateful for. That's one of the best things you can do. As soon as you're grateful for something, you can't complain. You can't complain and be grateful at the same time. And even, what did you say? Negative Nelly. That's right, Carol. Nobody wants a negative Nelly. And to the extreme opposite of complaining, I can't remember who the guy is. I don't know if it was even, it could have been just, you know, something like a parody to drive home a point. But it was this guy that no matter what happened to him, he was always so positive. They showed him like rolling him on the bed in emergency room because he had some kind of major injury, and he's grateful for how friendly the staff is and how clean the hospital is and how grateful he is for the care and that he has health insurance. But you see the point I'm getting at. Here the dude is going to the emergency room for some major injury, and he's noticing everything that he's grateful for. So when you catch yourself complaining, try that, see what happens. Hey Johanna, thanks for joining. I hope that helped. I wanted to share this because I thought what a great way to start off the week. It's Monday. We have a new week, new motivation, new mindset. I hope this helped you all. I'll talk to you guys soon and have a wonderful day. Love you guys. Bye-bye.